Welcome to Construct Tech TV and another week of the top 5 tech trends. This week we'll look at tech employment, robotics research, tires that talk, the project of the week, and new home growth. 7 million. That is the number of people employed in the U.S. tech sector. This is according to new research from CompTIA. The tech sector is up 3% in 2016. And since 2010, the tech sector has a net gain of more than 800,000 jobs. It is even outpacing the construction industry. Maybe that's good news for construction firms. So it's time for all you tech-savvy people to come on over to construction. The industry is ready to innovate, so lend your expertise to the space. Lowering costs. That is always a top priority for construction companies. And additive manufacturing can certainly deliver. The Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia and Technalia are working together on a collaborative project called Site Robotics. It combines cable robots, drones, natural material, and even CAD software. The goal is to print parts in even small-scale buildings. Let's take a look at the technology. Cables drive the entire system. Also, a custom script is integrated into the CAD software. Finally, drones can be used to monitor workflow and even development. Here's the interesting part. It does it all with 100% natural material. This makes it both sustainable and even low cost. Keep an eye on this very system in the near future. Your equipment is talking to you. Are you listening? RFID, otherwise known as radio frequency identification, might be on your tires, and it could enable better management of your fleets. Michelin is adding RFID to commercial truck tires and retreads. It also has enhanced it on its Michelin Tire Care program. RFID can alert when maintenance is needed and gives greater visibility into fleets. There is other technology that can alert drivers about pressure and even underinflated tires. Your tires are talking, so it's time you start listening. Basketball and construction have one thing in common: teamwork. This is key both on the court and on the job site. The Milwaukee Bucks' new Wisconsin Entertainment and Sports Center is a perfect case in point. The sports team has partnered with Johnson Controls to reduce energy usage, improve safety, and security. The building will be managed on a unified, intelligent infrastructure. This will manage HVAC, building automation, security, lighting, fire protection, and information technology. This project will transform 27 acres of property into retail and entertainment in downtown Milwaukee. It is scheduled to open in the fall of 2018. So while you are all watching from the sidelines what is happening on the courts, I'll be making a fast break to understand all the technology that is being implemented behind the scenes. Our final trend of the day is the housing market, and I have some really good news for builders. The market is growing. In the final quarter of 2016, housing share of the GDP, or the gross domestic product, was at 15.6%. The industry is also adding jobs. In February, home builder and remodeler employment increased almost 19,000. We have the ability to help the economy rise, so let's keep that building going. That's your tech update for today. As projects and buildings continue to hit new heights, so must the equipment. So to better prepare these workers, virtual reality has really emerged as a tool to ingrain safe techniques and all kinds of exciting things. So please welcome Richard Smith, the Senior Director of Global Product Training at JLG. Rick, welcome to the show.
Hi, Peggy. Thanks.
So, Rick, there's a lot of things happening today out there, and you guys are doing a lot of great training. Let's talk a little bit about it. When we were with you at ConExpo, you guys were doing some really amazing things, and we were testing some of it. Let's talk about what you guys are doing today.
You bet. So what you saw at ConExpo is our virtual reality immersive simulator. It's an 800S virtual machine that uses Oculus Rift technology and leap motion to detect and let the user see their virtual hands. So we have this 800S immersive simulator in virtual reality, and it was a real big hit at ConExpo.
You know, when I was trying to do it, you know, I definitely knew that I was not somebody who was in the construction industry that could move a lot of these things. And I was finding it was a little bit difficult. But the idea behind that is getting someone who's really trying to improve safety. How does that really help the contractors who are out there and trying to be out using the equipment and what you're teaching them?
I think it's a huge help. When a new operator gets in an 800S or any boom lift, it's intimidating. You know, the controls, they've been taught about the controls in the classroom. Now they have to get in the real machine and actually operate the machine. And this tool eliminates that anxiety, basically, where they get in the machine, virtual machine. It's 100% safe. They can't damage the equipment. They can't get hurt. So they operate this 800S in this virtual environment. It's absolutely realistic. And the timing is exactly the same as the real machine. All of the controls are the real controls, and it eliminates any of that learning curve that happens the first time a person's in the machine.
So talk a little bit about that. When you have these boom lifts now and you're doing this virtual reality training that you're talking about right now, how fast is improving, I would say, the training that you're seeing when you're putting new people in this to actually learn?
So I think, how quickly do they learn? It was interesting at ConExpo to see how quickly people came up to speed. We had hundreds of new operators in those VR demonstrators, and our scenario was like a race where they drove through a course and then they had to navigate obstacles safely. And they lost time if they hit any obstacles or didn't operate safely. But the point is that if a person jumped in for the first time, they've never been in a boom, they would maybe take 8 minutes to complete the course. If they did it again, they cut that time down to probably 3 minutes. So you could significantly see a learning curve reduction in their second operation. If they did it 2 or 3 times, they just continued to get better and better.
So is immersive training doing something different than what you did before in other type of training? Are you seeing different improvement, I would say, through immersive training?
Yes. I think the major improvement is the people get to practice in a safe environment. They know it's safe. There's no threat, no intimidation. They are in a classroom or in a safe place in this virtual machine. And if they mess up, there's really no consequences. You can reset the scenario and they start over again. So learning in the machine, there's no issues for a person as far as equipment damage or safety.
So that's really a good point. So you can actually get people learning so much more using this immersive training and then actually going out and using the equipment instead of actually going out onto the construction job site and doing something greater damage by using a piece of equipment that they're still actually learning out on the job site, where now they're using immersive training that gives them the experience there, right?
Absolutely. So they get that initial learning curve is done in the simulator, not in the real world. And, they're not at risk. The equipment's not at risk. Their peers are not at risk. It's a great, safe learning tool.
So where can people go to actually learn to do more of the training that you're offering right now?
We will be bringing the JLG immersive simulator to the market, but right now we're working with pilot groups of different customers and users around the country. We're working with them to put these VR simulators in their workplaces and just getting feedback right now on how they are going to actually be used in the field. It's brand new technology for us. And we're piloting it with several customers and construction sites.
When do you think that it'll be available for people to use now that you're piloting?
We're shooting for probably August, September of this year.
Well, Rick, it's been great talking to you, and thanks for being with us on Safety Zone.
Thank you.
This week's Someone You Should Know is a contractor that gets it when it comes to using new technology. After all, its birthplace is in Silicon Valley. In the beginning, it made a name for itself in technical building, but during the past 25 years, it has expanded its expertise in healthcare, science, and education. At the heart of it all, XL Construction is really focused on strong partnerships, a commitment to sustainability, and innovation at the job site. Here to tell us all about it is Hitesh Dewan, Operations Technology Manager at XL Construction. Hitesh, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Peggy.
So let's talk about some of the technology things that are happening. What do you see happening right now with technology? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a lot of advancements. I think just looking at the way the construction industry has been integrating technology, going from essentially what was office technology now into the field. Now the real trend is actually enabling everybody that's in the field with some level of technology that can actually help advance what they're doing and make their product faster, better, safer, higher quality.
Are your trade partners in technology, the way you're working, do you find them helping steer technology one way versus another these days?
Actually, yes. I have to say, from a general contractor's point of view, working with some of our sub-trades that are in the field and truly trade partners, these guys have the ability to really help steer the way that we want to absorb the information they're creating. Because really, the trade partners are the ones that are actually putting that work in the field. They're the ones that are creating it. The production line is in their hands. And they're really the ones that are working hard at actually integrating technology to make their process faster.
So how do you see things happening in construction a little differently? Because right now, technology in construction is really changing very rapidly, faster than it's ever done in the past when we look at construction. Is that something that for you, staying abreast of the changes, is almost difficult in some ways?
The changes are so fast that it's really hard to even stop and say, you know what, we're going to try this out. You really can't just stop and try anything. You kind of have to roll with the punches. And a lot of the technology that's coming out these days is app-based, because really the platforms these days have been created. You've got your tablets, you've got your phones, and even camera technology is pretty much, it's kind of hit its peak in a way. But how we take that data, how we move that data, how we analyze it, that's really where the game changers are right now.
So what, in your view, is the largest, impact, both either positive or negative, that you're feeling?
Largest impact in the technology that we're using?
Yeah, in the technology, in the field that you would say, or even, what
Sure.
you're seeing in the office.
Well, there's a lot of analyzation that's going on. So, getting leading indicators on safety, that's a big trend right now, making sure that we can get ahead of any issues that could possibly arise. I mean, we have the data from years and years now, so being sure that we actually analyze that data and then use it to our advantage forward, that's the biggest impact.
How about training? Because when you talk about that safety, or you talk about all these things, I would think that now becomes a big factor, because if technology is changing, you have to think about safety and what you're doing with your employees, because we have this changing of the guard, so to speak.
Absolutely. So at XL, we have a director of training and development that actually sets up the training paths for both office and field. And we have dedicated safety training when it comes to safety. We have dedicated training for user applications, for user platforms, for software, anything else. We essentially, before rolling out or during rollout, are involving the parties that are going to be using that tool or that technology and ensuring that they're using it to its fullest capacity.
Have you seen a big transformation at XL, what they're doing with technology lately versus how you've been there for a while now? Is you seen how they embrace technology to make them competitive in the marketplace?
Absolutely. All general contractors are looking for that leading advantage. And what we've done, of course, is a little out of the box. My role, along with a few others in our BDC and BIM department, we're a little unorthodox. We as a general contractor are really trying to steer the technology where really traditionally the GCs always followed the trade partner in their adoption of prefabrication, for example, or their adoption of a safety analytics type of tool. So, what we're doing now is we're visualizing job sites ahead of time. We're laser scanning beyond, before we're even asked to do it at this point, because really we know that the value is getting ahead of that curve, being able to capture that information and be able to then use it. So yeah, I think general contractors have been jumping on board, and I know that Excel, like I said, we've got our own laser scanner, our own total station in house. We have a team of guys that know how to use it, and we jump out there and use it as quickly as we can.
And do you see what's happening today might even be different in a couple of years? You couldn't have said that 10 years ago in construction, that things would change that fast. Do you see yourself even being different a few years from now than what you are today?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've been talking about what's the world going to be like 10 years from now. It's actually a talk going on right now. And
can you even imagine that, though?
Well, that's the thing. Even in 3 to 5 years, you start to think about, well, right now the type of technology that we have is bringing us to a faster pace. It's making us do things quicker in a less amount of time and higher quality. So really, one of our imagination type of ideas was, well, in 10 years, maybe we won't be working 8-hour days because we're doing 8 hours worth of work. Well, who works an 8-hour day? But maybe you're not doing that because you're doing that work faster in 4 hours. But realistically, we're probably just going to be doing double the work. That's really what's going to happen, is we're going to be advancing the amount of work that we can get done very short in the future.
So do you see training differently? Your employees and how you have them, that they'll be using technology in different ways to build things differently?
Yeah, definitely. The way that training differently for sure. The way that training is now, everybody has a device in their hands. Everybody has the ability, like this show, to be able to watch it and view it from anywhere that they want. And the same thing goes for training. There's no need to gather everybody in a room now and sit them down in front of a screen and do a training, when now you can democratize it, so to speak, and now everybody has it in their hands. And then the same thing goes for all the technology that we use. You don't have a band leader that's in front that's making everybody kind of march to that beat, when really everybody has the ability to do it in their hands now.
It's so exciting to hear you talk about the future. Thank you so much for being with us, and I'd love to learn more about what XL Construction's doing in the future, because you definitely are someone we should know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peggy. Appreciate it.
As construction job sites aim to become greener, additive manufacturing enters the equation. Okicich National Laboratory is looking to help. For those of you who might not know about Okicich, it is one of the U.S. Department of Energy science and energy laboratories, and it conducts basic and applied research to deliver solutions, in this case, additive manufacturing. To tell us all about it, please welcome Bill Peter, Director of the Manufacturing Demonstration Facility at the Okicich National Laboratory. So Bill, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peggy. I'm glad to be here.
So Bill, can you explain to us what you guys are doing and what is advanced manufacturing in the facility?
Yeah, so the Manufacturing Demonstration Facility was set up by the Department of Energy Advanced Manufacturing Office. It's at Okicich National Laboratory, one of the nation's largest Department of Energy labs. And at the laboratory, we look at advancements in materials, in nuclear systems, in biological systems, computation, as well as characterization. The Manufacturing Demonstration Facility was really taking those strengths and starting to look at how we could apply those to the big problem sets within advanced manufacturing activities, things like additive manufacturing and carbon fiber and composites.
So why is that important today? What actually are we trying to accomplish by doing that?
Well, additive manufacturing has quite a bit of ability in changing the way that we make things. And that could be for improved efficiencies or lightweighting of parts. But one of the big difficulties is looking at things like deposition rates. How do we make these systems faster and bigger? How can we look at new materials and increasing the materials? As well as how do you qualify a part? How do I know that the material that you make is good? And so that's really where we can start to take some of these science tools, the characterization capabilities and the materials development that we do, and computation, and really start putting a whole new system of how we advance manufacturing for us.
And as I hear you talk about these things, I can see so many benefits for the construction industry. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so in construction, one of the interests are things like hydraulics. Can I put hydraulic systems directly into the components that I print? So instead of traditional means where I would go through and fabricate through castings or forgings and create that part, I could actually build the part with hydraulics directly in the part, and therefore decrease the overall opportunity for leakages from hoses, as well as look at efficiencies as I go through and look at hydraulic systems. Another area is the idea of lightweighting, the fact that as we go through and 3D print, you only print where I want to print, and therefore I can go through and actually decrease the overall weight for a component. I don't have to lay down material everywhere, but only where it's strategic. I think the last one really has to do with innovative design and things like heat efficiency and how you can change the way that you go through and look at heat flow, and how I can go through and actually become much more energy efficient in my overall system.
Are we starting to see the construction industry use advanced manufacturing in ways that they might not have thought of, let's say, a few years ago to what they could do today, or what we're even seeing maybe in 5 years from now?
Yeah, so we're already in the construction industry starting to see areas whereby advanced prototyping, we're very quickly able to go through and fabricate systems and get evaluation. The structural property sets that we need are something that we're still working on and will come with time. But the idea, though, of being able to print really big parts at fast rates that are meaningful for the construction industry, that's a big area that Oak Ridge has spent a lot of time in both composites as well as in metals.
So what kind of things do you envision printing that you could see that we'll be using on the job site in the future?
Well, I think Amy was a really nice example. Amy was an additive manufactured excavator, and as we went through, we showed a couple different areas that we went through and produced on that excavator. We printed the stick, where we used a metal printer that was on a MIG welder to print a little over 5-foot stick. We also printed a cab. Now the stick was printed with the actual hydraulic systems into it. The cab was developed in a scenario, and it was with actual various different universities. The one that won the design challenge was University of Illinois. It was designed so that it could take rollover, but also was designed so that it was as lightweight as it possibly could be for the excavator. And then we also went through and 3D printed a radiator where you could go through and look at the efficiencies of heat exchange and really be able to use, instead of orthogonal passageways and straight pipettes, really go through and see how you could obtain the maximum flow and heat exchange through the radiator. The big area, though, that I see going forward is in dies, tools, and molds, where by going through, the United States lost 37% of the die, tool, and mold industry in less than a decade. And if we can go through and very rapidly make tools, then we could disrupt some of these lead times and some of the cost scenarios we see when it comes to tooling.
So we're really seeing advanced technology making things so energy efficient, so productive. I mean, so really the sky's the limit on what we could do with some of this, right?
Yeah, as time goes on, we see that these systems are getting faster, they're getting bigger, and they're also becoming more efficient as we start to better understand the systems and how we go through and deposit the materials. One of the things I'm really excited about is the idea that we can control microstructure as we print parts. One of the things that as you lay down material, it's over time you can change the process parameters. I can change that effectively to actually control at a microstructure level within the materials. That means I can completely change design. It's not just from geometry, but it could actually be from the way that I process the materials, I affect the way that it performs. And that's very unique.
I think that's so exciting. Thank you for being with us in our innovation and technology for today. I really am excited about what the future is for anybody who's in construction or any industry for that matter.
Well, thank you very much, Peggy. I appreciate being here and always glad to talk about the activities we're doing here at the Manufacturing Demonstration Facility.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Got a Tool. Equipment malfunctions can create serious problems on a project. Entire layouts may need to be redone, causing headaches for construction personnel. detecting the root causes of problems such as leaks, defective floor heating, and insulation loss can be burdensome without the right tool. Difficulties like this must be noticed and dealt with quickly, or you guessed it, your company is in terrible trouble. That's why Seek Thermal is offering workers a way to stay on top of impending doom with its thermal imaging cameras. Here to tell us all about it is Marc Okicich, Director of Sales at Seek Thermal. Marc, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peggy. Thanks for having me.
So Marc, when you think about construction right now, when you had thermal detectors, we've always seen things that they've been bulky, they've been kind of expensive, and they've just not really worked as well. But now you guys have a new way of making that different. How has that happened?
Certainly. Well, what we've done is we've taken that technology that used to be bulky and prohibitively expensive and created a user-friendly, affordable thermal image camera that everybody on the job site can use.
So how's that? Now you're getting into these tiny spaces that everyone goes, you couldn't do it.
Right.
And what makes it different today than in the past?
Well, this unit here, that's actually in a case, so it's even smaller, is a complete 320 by 240 thermal image camera that attaches to a smartphone.
That is crazy small, Marc. How does that work?
Well, you use your smartphone as the processor and screen, and the hardware inside the thermal image camera. This particular camera gives you almost 77,000 different temperature points, and the processor and the phone create the image with those different temperature points.
So who's using these? Are you getting like electricians, HVAC guys? Who's really using it right now?
Electricians, HVAC guys, plumbers, roofers, home inspectors. Everywhere along the job, there's a reason to have a thermal image camera. Masonry.
Are we saving a lot of money now? But we described it in the intro that what you can use. Are you finding that companies are saying these little imaging cameras are finding things you never saw before?
Yes, and because of the price point, they're allowing more people to use them as well. So whereas a camera that with this performance might have cost $4,000, $5,000 just last year is now $500. So now it's the price of a cordless drill kit, and everybody on the job site can use it, saving you time, saving you money, and really preventing a lot of errors and solving problems early on in the process. If I could give you a quick story, I was on a job site last week with an HVAC tech who had installed a lot of split window units, and he had a blockage somewhere and he couldn't figure out where, and they had already roughed in all the piping and everything. He's like, "Will the thermal image camera see it? Let's take a look." And we could find where the unit wasn't functioning properly, where the lines were blocked. So
let's talk about the new Pro Series that you have.
Certainly.
Why don't you demo that and tell us about it?
Certainly. So this is the camera. You download a free app, and my phone's actually going to recognize it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in selfie mode, which you can do. You'll notice it brings up a screen that says allow to function with your camera, or with your phone, excuse me. And now you'll notice I'm getting our cameraman here in full thermal imaging. So this has a focus ring on the front.
He's waving to you right now.
Yeah. It says a focus ring on the front. You'll notice that button, that white button there, looks like the camera button on your phone, correct? Well, that's exactly what it is. So I can take a picture. I can also slide it over and I can take a video. So I can decide to take a video of whatever I'm shooting. You'll have to, there you go. Now, down here at the bottom, there's 5 little icons. One of them is the gallery. So where I just took that picture, it's now in my gallery. There's the photo. And this is a great thing about the phone model too, is that from that gallery, I can simply text it, email it, I can add notes to it, I can do whatever I want. Shoot, I could even put it on Twitter if I really wanted to. And then the video is nice. Just come back out of here. The video is nice because it picks up your voice notes too. So I can be talking over this. I can decide to take a video of whatever I'm shooting. There you go. And so you can save that. So if you're walking around a job site, you can say, I'm in unit 32 on the 2nd floor, and I'm looking at this mini split system, and it's not working. What's the problem here? So I'm going to get out of the gallery here.
So all the types of detail you're collecting here, what types of things can you transfer this information? You just said you could put it out on Twitter. What kind of project information are you actually putting into other systems with this?
You could take this imagery and build it into a report if needed, using any type of reporting software. There is specific thermal image software too that in the next few weeks these data images will be fully radiometric, which means that each one of the 77,000 temperature points, you'll be able to go into using post-analysis software and get that temperature anywhere on the screen of all those 77,000 different temperature points.
So
Really
this is
powerful
available
stuff.
right now?
This is available right now.
Where can our viewers get this?
You can get this at Grainger, Lennox, HVAC. You can get it at really any high-end test equipment distributor.
And what are we talking about price for somebody who's trying to get these?
We have a suggested retail price of $4.99 for this.
I tell you, it's amazing what we could do, how technology's advanced.
It really is.
I tell you, Marc, thank you for joining us. I think
Certainly.
it's exciting. That's our information, and that's Got It Tool for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Flying a drone isn't easy. That's just one hurdle to adoption. This is where education and training really enter the equation. Training your workers on how to fly a drone is essential to creating a safe and effective job site. Many companies are offering tutorials and certification on how to fly a drone. One of these companies is DJI. DJI has multiple training videos that provide the basic mechanics on how to operate the equipment. This will give you a bird's eye view of aerial surveys, material movement, video and imagery, and worksite surveillance. So if you are interested in learning to fly a drone, go to DJI.com to take the tutorial. That's your Learn It for today. Today's word of the day is AI, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. What comes to mind when you hear those words? Perhaps it drums up images of a movie with robots walking among us. But artificial intelligence is real. In fact, the technology dates back to the 1950s. Many people know John McCarthy as one of the founding fathers of AI. And while he did coin the term, Alan Turing first wrote a paper on computing machinery and intelligence in 1950. Since then, much more research has been done. The technology has advanced. But I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to artificial intelligence. Oftentimes, people confuse robots and artificial intelligence. But in fact, those are two very different things. Robots are the physical hardware, while AI is the data or the intelligence. You might also hear the phrase machine learning in relation to artificial intelligence. But again, we are talking about the data. AI is changing our world around us. Today, our phones give us real-time information automatically without us even asking. That is the intelligence that is needed in the construction industry. It can help us make better decisions on the job site. This intelligence can help put the right material at the right place at the right time. It can also produce schedules and resource allocations automatically. That offers huge productivity improvement for the job site. Artificial intelligence can even help equipment operate more efficiently. It is also happening right now and is changing our job sites today. In the years ahead, workers and machines will work side by side in ways we can't even imagine. All this advanced intelligence will enable all of this to happen. AI, that's your word of the day. And thanks for watching Construct Tech TV, where we are talking tech at the job site.